All right, we're going to introduce lesson 42, and as you can see in the blue part here, the topic is called renaming fractions by multiplying by 1. And this kind of sounds like a difficult topic because it's so wordy and it's a long worded topic, but really it's not bad. Let's take a look at the examples that I have shown below. So below I have 1/2 times 2 over 2. I have 1/2 times 3 over 3. I have 1/2 times 4 over 4. Now, notice that the 2 over 2, the 3 over 3, and the 4 over 4, what's the value of a fraction anytime the top number is the same as the bottom? Or in other words, what's the value of the fraction if the numerator and the denominator are the same number? And if you'll recall that it's the same thing as 1. So 2 over 2 is just 1. 3 over 3 is just 1. Or 4 over 4 is just 1. So what we're doing here is we're multiplying really by a fraction that has the same value as 1. Now let's take a look and see what we get on these. So if I take, let's see, 1/2 times 2 over 2, okay, I multiply across, I get 2 over 4. In the bottom, the next one here, 1 times 3 is 3, I get 3 over 6. The one to the right, I get 4 over 8. Now, remember, anytime you have a fraction where the top number is half of the bottom, it's the same thing as a half. So really, in every one of these answers, we're getting the same value as a half. So when we take a half times a fraction with a value of 1, I get really the same thing back. Now, the main idea on this, though, is really this. If you have a fraction, say I have 2/3, as long as I multiply the top and the bottom by the same number, I'm getting what's called an equivalent fraction. So in other words, if I multiply I'm just going to throw a number out here. Say I multiply both the top and the bottom by 4. Well, I get 8 over 12. And you know what? 8 over 12, if I reduce that, it's the same thing as 2/3. Or if I take 2/3 times 7 over 7, okay, that would be 14 over 21. What do you think you get when you reduce this fraction? You get 2/3. So the idea here on this whole lesson is what you do to the bottom number, you have to do to the top number. So if I multiply the bottom by 4, I better multiply the top by 4. Or if I multiply the bottom by 7, I better multiply the top by 7. And if I follow that magic rule, I'm going to get a fraction that's equivalent to the same one, or in other words, has the same value. So just to re-emphasize this, say somebody makes 14 out of 21 free throws, yet another person makes 2 out of 3. You know what? They're the same value. Not one person is shooting better than the other person. It's the same value. Let's take a look at example 1. Now it says complete, and I actually have 4 parts of this. So let's follow that magic rule of what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. Now you've done these before here, so I have 1/3 equals something over 12. Let's see, now remember, to get an equivalent fraction, just like I did back here, we multiply. And actually you could divide too, but today we're just working on the multiplication part of it. So 3 times what is 12? Well, 4. Now what's the magic rule? Well, if I multiply the bottom by 4, I got to multiply the top by 4. And I get 4/12. Okay, let's do the one underneath. Let's see, 3 times what is 6? 3 times 2. So I better multiply the top by 2, and I get 4 over 6. And it doesn't ask you to reduce the final answer or anything like that. Let's see, 4 times what is 8? Well, 2. So I have to multiply the top by 2, and I get 6 over 8. These are equivalent fractions. These are equivalent fractions. These are equivalent fractions. Let's do one more. 4 times 3 is 12. I have to multiply the top by 3, and I get 9/12. 9/12 and 3/4 are equivalent fractions. All right, example 2. Now, same idea. Now it says write 2/3 and 3/4 with denominators of 12. So I want to take 2/3 and I want to write it with a denominator of 12. And then I want to take 3/4 and write it, or rename it, with a denominator of 12. So when I say rewrite it, we could also use the word rename. Because when we multiply the top and bottom number by the same number, we're renaming the fractions. We're just writing it a little different way. So let's see here. They want us to write these two fractions with denominators of 12. Let's see, 3 times 4, so I take this times 4. 4 times 3, take this times 3. Those are my two fractions. Now what do they want us to do? Add them together. So I have 8 twelfths plus 9 twelfths, and that's going to be something over 12. Let's see, 9 and 8 is 17. Now, this is an improper fraction, right? When the top's bigger than the bottom, it's improper. So I need to rewrite this or convert it to a mixed number. So take the top divided by the bottom. 12 goes into 17 once, and I get a remainder of 5. So my answer, that's the whole number, is 1, and I gotta go around clockwise. 5 over what I divided by, 1 and 5 twelfths. Okay, let's take a look at the final example, example 3. All right, it says, write 1/6 with a denominator of 12. Okay, I'll do that first. So 6 times 2, take the top times 2, that's 2 twelfths, right? Subtract this answer right here from 5 twelfths. So I'm going to take 5 twelfths and I'm going to subtract 2 twelfths from it. And remember, when you add or subtract fractions with the same denominator, you keep that same denominator. 5 minus 2 is 3 twelfths. Reduce your answer. So I have 3 twelfths. What could I divide both 3 and 12 by? Well, I could divide them both by 3. And I get 1/4. Okay? So really, the purpose of this whole topic or this whole lesson is renaming fractions, or in other words, writing fractions in a different way. And when you rename a fraction, you have to multiply the top and the bottom number by the same number.